Choosing a main role in Marvel Rivals is like picking your superpower. It's the key to unlocking your full potential and climbing those ranks like the Hulk scaling a skyscraper. We've all been there before, swapping roles mid-match thinking we're the next esports pro, only to feed like you're an all-you-can-eat buffet. Trust me, I've been that guy. Picking a main role means you dedicate yourself to mastering one of the game's 3 roles, Vanguard, Duelist, or Strategist, and the heroes that shine there. It's not mandatory, but having a go-to role you're cracked at, that's your ticket to carrying games. That's how you climb. Anyone can win with a good team. What about the teams that need not just a hero, but a superhero to carry them to victory? In this video, I'm breaking down each role, their responsibilities, the heroes you'll play, and some pros and cons to help you find your perfect fit. At the end of the video, I'll give you my personal opinion on what role you should consider based on your personality, gaming history, and preferences. Fair warning, my takes are based on my own blood, sweat, and rank tiers, putting hundreds of hours into this game, and with new patches dropping, the meta shifting all the time. So grab a snack, maybe not Groot Spark, and let's dive into the chaos of Marvel Rivals roles to figure out which one's calling your name. First up, Vanguards, the tanks of Marvel Rivals who eat damage for breakfast and laugh in the face of enemy ults. These are the heroes who take space, protect their squad, and make sure the objective doesn't turn into a free-for-all. Think Magneto tossing up his shield or throwing a bubble on himself or an ally to control the battlefield, Hulk smashing anyone dumb enough to get close, Captain America diving in to disrupt, or Doctor Strange weaving shields in with his melee ability. Your job? Contest points, start engagements, and soak up punishment so your duelists and strategists can do their thing. Vanguards are the backbone of any team, setting the pace and making sure your squishy Iron Man doesn't get one-shot by a stray Scarlet Witch ult. Not joking, have you considered body blocking ults before? It's situational, but it could be the difference between your team capping point or not. I literally had a Hulk main do this for us last night. He jumped right into an Iron Man ult and saved multiple teammate deaths. As for Magneto, he's all about locking down zones with barriers and pushing enemies into bad decisions. Hulk's a brawler, his rage is basically me after 3 ranked losses in a row. Venom's great for diving backlines and making duelists cry, while Doctor Strange is the ultimate team protector with shields and portals. Each hero's got a unique vibe, so you've got options whether you want to be a wall or a wrecking ball. Pros: Vanguards have massive impact. You dictate when and where fights happen. This is great for when you know your team should be contesting the point. Vanguards are also forgiving for new players since you've got beefy health pools and abilities to bail you out. Cons: here's a bit of a catch. You're reliant on your team. If your duelists are off chasing kills instead of following up, you're just a big, sad target more often than not. Also, you might feel ignored when your strategist is too busy healing the 1 HP Black Panther who dove the enemy spawn. It's a thankless job a lot of times. Here's my pitch as a Vanguard main myself this season. I started off maining Ella and Winter Soldier, who are duelists. Then I transitioned to strategist before I finally settled on playing Venom. Venom is basically a hyper-mobile, chubby DPS. I don't need my strategist half the time with my symbiotic resilience, which lets me gain bonus HP. And if I get in a tricky situation, more often than not, I can just swing out back to my strategists. And I'm going to speak on something I haven't heard talked about. I've got a ton of hours in aim trainers, which is why I was hesitant to pick up playing tank. Tanks have short to mid-range damage abilities at best, and half the time it seems you're just getting kicked in the teeth and not doing much. That's not the case though. Again, back to my Venom point, I can crit damage targets by landing headshots, and Venom's range is a bit further than you think it is. I noticed the advantage above average aim has with this character. I can hard carry games by holding point completely solo for a lengthy period of time with his HP and mobility too. If you've ever played tank even just once or twice, you've probably noticed the amount of respect you demand on the battlefield. A lot of players do not want to duel with you, and that's a nice feeling. So for Vanguard, you lead the charge. Vanguards like Magneto and Emma Frost shape the battlefield, initiating fights and controlling objectives, making you the team's fearless leader who sets the pace. You have a forgiving playstyle with beefy health pools and damage mitigation, like Doctor Strange's shields, for example. There are countless examples I could put here. You can make mistakes and still survive. Game-changing impact. A well-timed Venom dive or a Magneto ult can swing team fights, letting you feel like the MVP, even if your duelist actually steals the spotlight. Diverse hero pool, from Hulk's raw brawling to Strange's tactical portals. There's a Vanguard for every playstyle practically, so you'll never get bored. And a bit of a con, team reliance. Although you could say this for every role, but in particular for Vanguards, your impact depends on your teammates following up. If your Duelist off chasing some weird kill that he's not gonna get, you might feel like a glorified punching bag. So if you love being the hero who holds it all together and doesn't mind a little bit of babysitting, Vanguard's your jam. Just practice your positioning and pray your team knows what an objective is. And if you've ever been frustrated that your team is not capping the point, in particular at the beginning of the match, you can change that if you go the Vanguard role. You should absolutely consider Vanguard just for this alone. Statistically speaking, if you're the team who caps point in the beginning, the first point capture, you statistically have a higher probability of winning that game. Hey, jump scare, it's my face. Consider subscribing, unless you're that guy who leaves the payload to chase a 1 HP Spider-Man across the map. I mean, come on, we're trying to win here. I make weekly Marvel Rivals content, including guides, rank breakdowns, and more. It's free, and I promise I won't make you read the fine print, unless it's in Wakandan. Next, Duelists, the DPS stars of Marvel Rivals who live for eliminations and highlight reels. These heroes are all about dealing massive damage, flanking enemies, and snowballing fights faster than Tony Stark burns through cash. You've got Storm sniping from the skies, Spider-Man swinging in for cheeky kills, Black Panther slicing through squishies, and Scarlet Witch deleting entire teams with a single ult. Your job is to secure kills, first priority targets like enemy strategists, and make the enemy team rage quit. Sounds glamorous, right? Well, it's also a tightrope walk. There's a little bit of balance here, and we'll get into that in a minute. Duelist heroes are diverse. Iron Man's a long-range poker with flight and missiles, perfect for players who like precision or radius damage. You do also get up closer with Iron Man than you might think you do, but again, he can also play from afar safely whenever the time calls for that. Psylocke is an invisible, mobile menace, dashing around to annoy and assassinate everyone. Wolverine's a positioning ninja who punishes overextensions, and the Punisher is your go-to for raw, apocalyptic, shoot 'em up damage. Pick your poison based on whether you want to snipe, dive, or just blow everything up. Pros: Duelists have a high skill ceiling, letting you flex your mechanics and carry games. Pulling off a 5 kill streak with Star-Lord feels pretty good. Plus, the hero pool's stacked with fun, intuitive kits. Cons: you're squishy, step out of line, and you're toast. Duelists who overextend and blame the strategist for not healing through a 1v5? Yeah, we've all seen that guy. You need sharp aim, or at a minimum, good game sense, or you'll be watching respawn timers all game. Also, counter picks hurt. Good luck as Iron Man against a decent Hela. If you're itching to pop off and make big plays, Duelist is your playground. Just know this is far and away the most popular role in the game. There is rarely a need for Duelist players on a team. You're often scrounging for that last strategist, or even just one person to fill tank in a lot of games. For Duelists, you have carry potential. Duelists like Iron Fist, Human Torch can rack up eliminations and single-handedly turn games, letting you flex your skills and climb ranks fast. Flashy skill expression, master Black Panther's mobility or Magic's combo potential, and you'll be pulling off highlight reel plays that make enemies rage quit. Varied play styles, whether you prefer shelling out consistent damage as Namor or unleashing chaos with Scarlet Witch, there's a Duelist to match your vibe. A high skill ceiling. The role generally rewards sharp aim and or game sense, so improving feels insanely rewarding, but whether it's learning combos or consistently warming up and improving your aim, you'll need to put in the work to shine. Squishy and punishable. One misstep as a Duelist and you're deleted by a Vanguard or an enemy Loki, leaving you staring at the respawn timer. And if you can't hard carry on your Duelist main, and I mean hard carry, I highly encourage you to learn both Strategist and Vanguard. And actually, in the next role, Strategist, I'm going to break down a little bit more why, as a Duelist, it's an incredibly difficult role. You're always asked to be the best player on the field. Think about it. You're often 1v1ing someone. Vanguards don't always 1v1 someone. Strategists don't always 1v1 someone. You're often asked to do that. You need to secure kills. That's literally your job. You're not healing someone. You're not tanking damage. You need to be getting picks for your team. Can you consistently do that? It's a tricky role to play. Last but not least, Strategists. The unsung heroes of Marvel Rivals who keep the team alive and make game-changing plays while getting zero credit. These are your supports and healers. dishing out shields, heals, damage, and crowd control to turn the tide. Rocket Raccoon's dashing around with revive beacons and a mini machine gun. Mantis is your chill enchanter who can sleep and stack healing. Loki's a chaotic playmaker with clones and crazy carrying potential. And Adam Warlock packs a punch with his primary and can practically insta-heal a near-dead tank, leading to some fun counter potential that not all enemy teams expect. Your job? Heal, buff, and control vision while babysitting your duelist who thinks they're invincible. Strategist heroes are super diverse. Loki's a hybrid damage healer for aggressive players. Mantis is aggressive. Luna Snow and Invisible Woman are often thought of as heal bots, and they do a great job of that. But if you get consistent with your freeze as Luna, you can cancel enemy ults and completely carry matches. And don't get me started with all the cancels Invisible Woman can do with her boops. And Jeff is something. For anyone new to the game, he's kind of a DPS with the added benefit of being able to heal. Check this graphic out for Strategists though. You're looking at the win rate of the best team comps to run across all ranks in Marvel Rivals. Now, while the stats aren't likely 100%, it gives you an idea. You notice something different about the Strategist role compared to both the Vanguards and Duelists? You need 2 Strategists, minimum, per game. If you don't, you're asking to get stomped. Yes, there are unique team comps out there that run 1 strategist, but that's for coordinated teams and assuming your strategist knows what they're doing. Let's move on to the pros. Strategists are newbie friendly. Your job is straightforward. Keep people alive and do damage when you can. The builds are simple on the surface level and your abilities guarantee you're useful even if you're having an off day. Plus the playstyles are varied from passive healing to diving in like a discount duelist. Just like Vanguard and Duelists themselves, the skill ceiling gets higher the more you dive into the nuances of these characters, but you're often not 1v1ing someone in game. You're hugging corners and pumping heals. You're not being asked to best someone. You're often an enabler, dishing heals to playmakers. Sure, you can absolutely carry and playmake yourself, but the onus isn't consistently on you to do that. Whereas for a duelist, that's literally their job description. Think about that. As a duelist, again, you are constantly being matched up 1v1, 1v2, or whatever. If you don't directly best your opponent, you're back in spawn. For a strategist, not always, but a lot of the time, you need to stay in line of sight of your Doctor Strange and the Thing. They're pretty easy targets for you to hit. Yes, you need spatial awareness and game sense if you want to climb in rank, but your role is simply different, and that's a good thing. Cons. Statistically, you're not carrying games solo. Your impact's tied to your team's performance. Once again, you can absolutely carry if you're a strong strategist player, but at the end of the day, you usually need to kill the enemy team if you want to win. Not always, and there's some trickery around that, but to claim the point, you can't have the enemy on it. Usually they'll need killed. Yes, you can push them off, but again, usually they need killed, and duelists simply do a better job of that. If your Vanguard's hiding or your duelist's feeding, you're just delaying the inevitable, and yeah, you're the first to get flamed when things go south. For strategists, it's accessible for all. Strategists like Rocket Raccoon and Cloak and Dagger are beginner friendly with fairly simple kits that let you contribute without needing pro level mechanics. You can learn all the cool tech with these heroes or others as you move along. Game saving utility, pull off an Adam Warlock revive or Loki's regeneration domain pools and you'll turn fights in ways that make your team worship you. Silently, of course. Diverse play options from Luna Snow's chill healing to Jeff's aggressive playmaking. You can support passively or dive in like a budget duelist, keeping things fresh. It does come with some underappreciated heroes. You'll rarely get the credit you deserve, and a feeding duelist might still flame you for, quote, no heals, despite their 1v5 dive. Again, a bit of a low carrying potential. Your impact often hinges on your team's performance. If your Vanguard's not vanguarding, you're just a glorified cheerleader with a heal button. If you're new or just want a chill role to vibe in, Strategist's cozy, and it's underappreciated. You're the mom of the team, cleaning up messes and never getting a thank you note. Here's my 2 cents. First of all, have fun and play any role you want. It's a game after all. But here's my opinion for what it's worth. Be honest with yourself. If you're not a good PvPer, stay away from the duelist role probably. You can have much more impact on Vanguard or Strategist, and I promise these roles are fun in their own ways too, despite what your favorite duelist streamer may say about them. You'll have a bigger impact on the game, and if winning is even a little bit important to you, it's likely you'll have more fun here too. On the other hand, if you've consistently climbed leaderboards in other competitive games and have years of shooter game experience, Duelist might be the way to go. This game needs playmakers. Just know most people think they're above average at most things things. So be brutally honest in your self-assessment here. If you're more of a strategic thinker rather than a mechanically gifted 15-year-old, maybe you've played a lot of RTS games or you have a knack for seeing the big picture, definitely consider going Vanguard. You need to know when you can test the point, when your team has the numbers, when you should back up, when you should peel for your strategists or even duelists. A smart Vanguard player is incredibly difficult to deal with, even if they don't have a good supporting cast. You really can dish out some damage, especially on heroes like Thor or Hulk, and you have more outplay potential than you think. Some of the smartest players I've played against are Vanguard mains. For Strategist, it's kind of a blend of Duelist and Vanguard in the sense that your team needs you to zoom out and see the big picture, although not as frequently as Vanguards necessarily, and you need to know when it makes sense to off angle and shell out damage to clean up and kill for your team, just like a duelist. And this is not a shot against strategist mains at all. It's just the design of the role. If all you do is stay back and heal, you can win a nice chunk of games. You don't need to outplay or outskill or even outthink other players by doing this. So you could argue strategist has the lowest serviceable floor in the game. If you're newer to team shooters or gaming, or maybe you switch from console to PC, you may want to consider strategist to wet your feet and get an idea of what the game has to offer before you branch out. And don't get it twisted, you can be mechanically cracked and the smartest player on the battlefield and carry games as a strategist. It all comes down to what clicks in your noggin the most. Whether you're smashing as a Vanguard, popping off as a duelist, or saving lives as a strategist, find a role that vibes with you and master a few heroes, 5 or 6 max, and don't be afraid to experiment and have fun. Be sure to subscribe for weekly content and check out my most recent video where we break down every animation cancel for every hero in the game. Until next time.